Hello and welcome to episode 212 of my podcast all about knitting and crochet and my yarn shop here in Wiesbaden, Germany. I'm Kiko and today is December 11th, 2023. And today I'm wearing something quite old and something very new. And I have had several points in time where I was quite sure that I had shown everything, all the clothes that I own on the podcast. And usually before I decide what to wear, I check when I had shown it on the podcast last to make sure I'm not showing the same things over and over again. And today when I checked when I wore this scarf on the podcast last, I couldn't find it on the list. So I think this is actually the first time I'm showing this scarf on the podcast, even though I've had it for a very long time. And one of the reasons that I missed it could be that I didn't knit it myself, but it's again one of the things that my sister knit for me. And it's a fairly simple scarf. This is, by the way, the favorite way for me to wear it, to sort of have it round twice and then crisscross it like this. And the yarn that my sister used was a yarn by Wollerödel, where I used to work. It was called Quick Socks. And it was like a 8-ply sock yarn, but it's not, but it's constructed differently from other sock yarn. So it's quite a bit softer and it had very nice colors. And I remember back when we had these colors, I both liked the pink with a little gray in it, but also the gray with some pink in it. And I couldn't decide which one to use. And then I ended up buying both colors, and I wanted to make a scarf mixing the colors somehow, but I never got around to doing it. And at some point, for some reason, probably my sister was looking for a project to knit, and she asked me if I had an idea what she could knit, and I said, well, do you want to knit this scarf? And then what she did is she used, I think she used 2 balls in one color and knit in, this is brioche. Yeah, she knit brioche pattern, one color. Back then, I don't think we were knitting 2-color brioche. If she hadn't known to knit that back then, she could have done one half dark and the other side light. But what she did is she started with 2 balls of the same color. Then she used 1 ball of the dark and 1 of the light. And I think she switched every other row. And then for the second half of the scarf, she only used the pink color. And I really loved the scarf. I love the 2 different ends. I love the mixture in the middle. I love that it's soft and warm. And so I'm finally showing it off on the podcast. And I think it's not the perfect combination with this pullover, but they're both pink and gray. And I hadn't ever shown this before, so I thought today is the day. And now my V-back tee. And as it says in the name, I put the V in the back. So this is what the pullover now looks like on me. I'm quite happy with the length. I'm very happy with the loose fit around the front and back. The sleeves have a perfect length. They're a little bit tight, so I think I should have started the decreases a little later. The decreases weren't in the pattern because in the pattern it's a t-shirt, so it has short sleeves. So that was absolutely my decision, and it's not really a mistake. But next time I could do that differently. I could knit straight for a bit longer and then do the decreases. They'd be a little looser, but they're not too tight. I can still wear them. This side I think looks really nice. I like the different blocks of stripes with the different colors. When I blocked it, I meant to block it really severely. So I was thinking of putting in blocking wires and stretching everything out every which way. But then I did not do it. When it was wet and it was lying there, it was fairly simple to just pin the shoulders next to the ribbing. And then I pinned the V down to make sure that it's... because that was very wobbly, so this got really straight. And then I just put a few pins on top of the ribbing to make sure that the V side was really straight. And it really worked out really nicely, and it looked really nice the way it was blocked. I will try and remember to put the pictures on my Ravelry page so you can see the before and after pictures. Once it was dry and I tried it on, there's 2 points where I'm not perfectly 100% happy, and one of them is this bit. So it's it sort of has this thing going on here where it's a bit wider underneath this point than it's above the point. It's not too bad, and I probably won't notice while I'm wearing it. And the other point is, yeah, on the V side, the bit next to the arm sometimes looks a bit funny. I'll show that more clearly once I wear the pullover the other way around. I'll probably wait till sometime next year when it's a bit warmer and I'm not wearing as much underneath. Then I'll try and remember to wear the pullover the other way around. And the other point I'm not too happy with is, again, this one. So this was completely invisible while I was blocking it. It looked really straight. But now that I'm wearing it, it still has this bit of a bump there. I don't think it's very obvious, so I don't mind too much. So this side is, I think, a lot wider than this side. So it's looking a bit like this. And actually, I think the V side actually looks better when I wear it in the front because I'm a bit wider in the front. So I think it looks a little bit better, but then the arms don't. So yeah, I'm not really sure which way I prefer to wear the pullover. The V neck ended up being really deep and very wide. So I'll have to see how happy I'll be to be wearing this with the V to the front. I don't know yet. So now I'm trying to find out if I can wear the scarf in a way that keeps my back warm, because that's getting a bit cold. So if I do something like this and then let it just hang there, we'll see. I'll try and wear it like this and see if it keeps my back warm. Yeah, so much for what I'm wearing today. Then on to finished objects. I have one finished object, and I actually managed not to start anything new. Well, at least not properly. I swatched for something, but that's not starting it yet, so I'll probably do that this week. Anyway, starting with my finished object. My finished object are my fingerless mitts from the book 101 Knitting Ideas something sock yarn. That's one of my favorite books, and that's where the pattern comes from. I've always wanted to knit them. I finally got round to doing that as part of the pattern battle, where we all knit with this color Opar yarn, but everybody had to knit a different pattern, and I chose this one. I chose different color beads for the left and the right mitt, and really happy with it. So these beads are, the color shows a lot more than on this one. They look fairly pale on camera. They do have some color to them in real life. And some people have commented that the yarn looks quite different with the different beads on them. That's interesting. So on this bit, it should show how similar the colors are. And they fit really well. So this is what they look like. They have, I like the deep ribbing, so I could either pull the pullover on top, or I could pull them on top of the pullover, depending on what I'm wearing and how cold I am. And yeah, really happy. I made this bit a little longer than the pattern called for. I was only supposed to do 4 pattern repeats, so 4 beads here, but I did a 5th, and I'm really happy. So I can still use my finger for everything, and I can knit. And yeah, so these are my beaded fingerless mitts for the pattern battle, all done before the next subscription parcel has arrived. I think it's going to arrive this week, and then we will choose another color, and then the next pattern battle will get started. I think with the December parcel, usually the choosing of the color and the choosing of the patterns ends at the end of the year. And I think the knit along itself usually starts on January 1st. So that should be fun. Okay, then to works in progress. I must say last week was quite busy, and even though I did not start anything new, I did not work on 4 of my projects. So again, I didn't add any of the mini swatches. I again did not knit on my double face cowl or loop. I did not continue on the Geogradient, and I did not crochet on my summer pullover. So you won't be seeing these projects, but the others I continued knitting on. And the first and now most important project is my not so mad Squiggley Madness socks. His socks from my sock couple that I knit every year, and I want to give them away for Christmas. So I have to finish them this week. I have to finish this sock this week so I can send it off after I've shown the finished socks on Monday. I will probably go straight to the post office and send them off so that they will arrive before Christmas. So this is going to be my main priority project this week. I'm quite happy I finished the leg. I did finish the heel flap. You can see I'm using again a double pointed needle for the heel. I'll be knitting the, not the gusset, the heel flap. I think the gusset is this one. I don't know what you call the heel turn, I think is the word. So I'm going to knit that on the double points. Then I'll pick up the stitches and then I'll go back to knitting on the mini circular needle and then have to knit quite a big foot. So I will have to put a lot of work into this, and then maybe some of the projects will not get worked on until next Monday, but we'll see. So the only sock at the moment, apart from my knit along sock, so maybe, oh no, that's not quite true. I'll come to a big sock or stocking in a minute. But my next project on the list is the No Matter What Mystery Gnome by Sarah Shearer. In case you don't want to see what it looks like, you have to look away now, because I'm not going to show the same things again that I showed last week, but I'm going to show what we knit since then. And it started off with something black, and then it continued with something white, and this is what we knit. So that is quite a surprise. So this mystery gnome is full of mysteries. Yeah, so the pattern calls for some embroidery on the body. I will probably do that at some point. I just didn't get around to doing it last week. I really, really like the way this fellow looks so far. Okay, I'm not showing him anymore in case you were looking away. You can look now. So it's still quite a mystery, and still enjoy knitting on that. And it's not that much knitting because every other day it's usually part of the story where the gnomes of the Grimblewoods are desperately waiting for snow. And I'm really excited to see how the story continues. But the next, again, Adventy project I'm doing is the Arnie and Carlos Advent Mystery Stocking. So again, if you don't want to see, look away now. We finished knitting the foot. We did the heel, and it's a short row heel, but it's different from any other short row heel I've knit so far. So that was quite interesting to get to know a new method of short row heel knitting, and I think it looks quite nice. I might actually do that in a proper pair of socks at some point. And this is what the pattern looks like. So this, if you use red yarn, I think this motif looks really nice, but I also like it in the blue. And then half the pattern was before the heel, and then we sort of just repeated in reverse order the same pattern after the heel. So we have a double something here. And then today we'll continue with the next bit of pattern. And one thing I forgot to mention about the stocking last week is this is a 2-color pattern, but it's not something anybody is going to put on. So it's not quite as important that the floats on the inside are like perfect. I'm showing it again just in case you don't want to see it. I'll show the inside. So these are the floats. And I decided for this stocking that I was going to practice holding one yarn in one hand and the other yarn in the other hand. So I've been holding the main color in my left hand. I usually hold both yarns in the left hand if I do a 2-color pattern. But I was always holding the contrast color in my right hand. I'm not quite as practiced with having the yarn on my right hand. But as I said, this doesn't have to be perfect. And I thought it's a good size to be practicing. And the fact that I'm knitting 6 rounds every day, I think is a very nice way of practicing a technique. So you don't do too much, your hands don't get too tired, but you stick with it because there's a bit of pattern every day. I practice it every day. And I think by the end of the stocking, I will have gotten used to carrying the yarn in the right hand and doing the 2-color knitting this way. And I'm quite happy to add this to my abilities, to the things that I can do. Yeah, so that's that. Then I continue knitting on the slip over that I'm doing. I'm using this 8-ply sock yarn from last year. Very nice colors. And this is one of the things that I knit when I didn't want to concentrate, or I was very tired like last night. I was really tired last night. So I just knit on this. And I just keep going round and round, doing stockinette stitch, just knit stitches, very simple. And yeah, I've added quite a bit. So last week on the front of the slip over, I'd only done a few rounds and I've added quite a few. And on the back, this is the length that I got. And yeah, I'm probably going to just use up this ball for this part of the slip over. And then I know that I have a second ball, and I know that the upper part for me is less than half of the whole thing. If I do a pullover that's not very long, I sometimes have half and half with the armhole and underneath the armhole, but I want this to be a bit longer so that the bag really goes down my lower back. And so I know that if I use half the yarn for the until the armholes, I'll definitely have enough to finish it. So really enjoyed doing that. And I also, it's like a contrast program, I also continued knitting on the summer pullover. And last week I was just about to put the arm stitches on hold. So that was the first thing I did. I put the arm stitches on hold, which looked like this. And then I continued knitting on the front and back a little bit. I wanted just a bit of fabric underneath the armhole that I could, so I would know where to pick up stitches for the arm ribbing. And then that's what I did on the first sleeve. So I put the stitches back on a needle. I picked up the stitches from where I cast on new stitches for the front and back. And I just have this little bit of stockinette stitch, and then I put the ribbing on. I did this bit exactly as it's written in the pattern. So I did the knits through the back loop. I did the exact number of rounds that the pattern called for. And I like it. I tried it on and it looks good. So the yoke is fairly deep. So the ribbing doesn't sit too high. It's like in the middle of my upper arm, which isn't too low, but it's not too high. So this could come out quite perfectly. Really looking forward to it. So this week I will definitely knit the second ribbing. And then once I've done that, I can basically just use up the yarn to knit the fronts and back. At some point, I'll probably measure how much yarn I need to do 1 or 2 rounds, so that I know how much yarn I will need for the ribbing. And then it's just knitting straightforward. No more thinking, no more problems. Yeah, that should be fun. So that's that. And then I told you I knit a swatch, and oh no, I didn't knit it, I crocheted it. And the reason I'm about to start a new pullover is because I got this beautiful book from the publisher. It's Stiebner Verlag is the German publisher. It's called Lieblingspullover Häkeln in German. It's by Janine Miska. And the book was originally published in English, and the English version is called Modern Crochet Sweaters. And I think because the English title says sweaters, that's why they translated pullovers. So I expected pullovers. But when I looked through the book, I was quite happy to see that there are quite a few cardigans as well. And I think in English, a sweater can be either be a pullover or a cardigan. But in German, a pullover is a pullover. It's not a cardigan. But the book does have several cardigans. So there's one. This is one of the pullovers. Here are 3 different pullovers on the cover. And I got this book for free to review it and have a look at it and crochet from it, give my honest opinion, what I think. And I really like the book. So not everything in the book is something I would want to make. This is one of the cardigans I really like. Then a pullover like this, I'm probably not young enough to be making that. Maybe I'll make it for somebody else. But I'm not into yarny, woolly pullovers where the shoulders are not covered. I'm already cold in this V-back pullover because the V is so deep in the back. But this is something I like really a lot. It's a dress with a big collar. This is like a very simple vest, I would say. Or short sleeve cardigan, something like that. This is one of the cardigans I like. And there's a little capelet. There's several more pullovers. What else have we got? Oh, this is the one that I showed you. There's another cape. So this is a really nice book with quite a few different crochet projects. This is like a very long pullover going into a dress. Really like that a lot too. It has a V-neck, which is something I like. And I love this one. This is high up on the list of things I would like to make. So I was looking through the book thinking about what to make, and I actually did want to crochet a cardigan because I'm into cardigans a lot at the moment. But I also wanted a cardigan that you could close, so that has buttons or something. And for some reason, even though there are several cardigans that I like, there's nothing that I wanted to make straight away. And then I came across this pullover, and that's what I've decided to make. So it's a fairly simple pullover, but one of the things I like about it is that it's top down and it's a raglan pullover. And I've never crocheted a raglan pullover before. A lot of the other projects in the book are made in pieces and then sewn together, which isn't too bad. I personally think sewing crochet pieces together is a bit easier than crocheting knit things together. And some of the things that she sews I would probably change. So for example, if she does the fronts and backs in pieces, I might do the front and back in one piece up until the armhole, and then sometimes she crochets the sleeves in the round and then sews them onto the front and back. I think I would always turn that around. I would do the front and back first, sew the shoulder seam, and then crochet the sleeve onto the front and back in the round so that I don't have to do any sewing. But the Whispering Pines pullover is designed to be crocheted in one piece without any seams. And so I decided to make that. And when I was looking for which yarn to use, because a lot of the projects in the book use very thick yarn, and I don't have that. So many thick yarns in my shop or in my stash. So, of course, I could hold the yarn double, but I didn't really want to do that at the moment. So when I looked at the pullover, I realized the yarn is a little bit thicker than the 8-ply sock yarn by Opal. So if I use that, the pullover might come out a little bit smaller, but that's okay. I could just crochet a bigger size, and then because it's a top-down raglan, I can just try it on and crochet it so that it fits me. So that's what I've decided to do, and I've chosen this color from this year's Opal 8-ply yarn. So Opal usually creates one series of 8-ply yarns every year. They are 6 different colors. And last year, one of the colors was the one that I'm knitting for the slipover. And last year there were 3 lighter colorways and then 3 more solid, not solid, but 3 colorways with less white. And they've repeated that this year, which I think is quite nice. So this is one of the colors that has white in it, but it also has blue and gray. And so absolutely one of the colors that I love. And I know I already have a lot of blue things, but then I can wear them together. So the other 2 colorways this year that are on the lighter side that have white in them is this very colorful yarn. I really like that color a lot. And then this is the third one. It has a bit more greens, but also some red and turquoisey blue and a bit of gray. So really like that a lot. And then there are 3 colors without white. One is this orange and gray, which sort of goes with the label a lot. And it does look a little bit like fire, I think. Then there's a very bright one with lots of pinks, with a lot of pink and a bit of turquoise and blue and yellow. And there's another color I like very much. And then the third color that has no white in it is this very icy light blue, light gray, a little bit of beige color. And at the moment, my sister is thinking about crocheting the same pullover that I'm crocheting out of this color in this color. So we'd have the same pattern, we'd have the same series of opal yarn, but different colors, but actually colors that go together. So we could actually wear them together and stand next to each other without the colors clashing. So that's the plan. And then when I started doing the swatch, or when I was looking at how to do the swatch, I realized that the book gives you instructions how to crochet your swatch. And I think that's a really good idea, because I've met so many people, especially here in my shop, who think that if the gauge says 11.5 stitches, you're supposed to start with 11.5, 12 stitches. But of course, that doesn't work, because then the edge would be part of the gauge swatch, and you don't want that. So the book tells you to start with 16 stitches and then reminds you to measure your 10 centimeters inside the swatch and not including the edge. And this is what the swatch looks like. And it's not a very obvious pattern or complicated pattern, but when I first read the pattern, I thought there was a mistake in the pattern, because I thought you can't stack the stitches the way it says. It's impossible, that's what I thought. But then I read it through twice and a third time, and I realized it's actually what they're saying, and I thought, well, I'll try it. And it wasn't impossible, and this is what it looks like. And I'm not going to tell you how it's done, because it's part of the pattern in the book, but I really like the way it looks, and I would never ever in my whole life have tried to stack the stitches this way. So I thought that's really interesting, and I think that's what makes a good designer, is they try new things, they do things differently, and I'm really happy that I tried it. And yeah, I just haven't got around to starting the pullover yet, but I'm really looking forward to doing that. And yeah, so there should be one new project, and I'll see, maybe I'll wait to cast this on until I finish the sock, so to make sure it's done. And then I finish something, I can start something equation. Yeah, so that's the plan, that's the new yarn in my shop, and that leads us to the knit-alongs. There's not a lot different things happening there. I did knit on the banana sock, so it has grown quite a bit. It's still number 1 for this pair, but that's okay. Quite happy that it is growing, and that's that. And then the other knit along, I'm knitting a reversible hat, and it's a lot and lots of black ribbing, but it also has grown quite a bit. I wasn't quite sure how much I had done last week, but when I looked at the video and I realized it was quite a bit smaller last week, so I was quite happy that even though I ever have the feeling that anything is happening when you just knit black ribbing. It just seems to be the same all the time, but it's big enough that I was able to try it on. The size is wonderful, the yarn is wonderful, and I'm really looking forward to having the hat. And I'm looking forward to finishing the black part so that I can switch to the colorful yarn. Yeah, So that's the 2 knit-alongs. I managed to start the discussion thread in the Ravelry group. Really happy I managed to do that. So if you are knitting along with a haramaki or a reversible hat, please show what you are doing in the Ravelry group if you would like to do that. And I'll be happy to see the pictures. Yeah, and that's everything I knit and crocheted last week. I hope you enjoyed the episode and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!